Hi, everybody. This is Angie from Horizen Labs team. I'm here today, very excited to be having this quick walkthrough session. I'm here joined by Gustavo. He's going to be introducing himself, and Shelby from the Tatum team. We're going to be taking a look at how to use Tatum's tools SDK running on top of EON. So for those of you who may not be very familiar with what Horizen EON is, Horizen EON is our EVM smart contracting platform. It was launched last year, and we are always very excited to be sharing walkthrough videos and then sessions that we can inform people, developers, and also end users how to use the tools available on top of or running on top of Horizen EON. So I'm super pleased to have here Shelby from the Tatum team. So Shelby, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I would love to. I'm a solutions engineer at Tatum. I've been here for a year and a half. Um, I primarily work with enterprise customers. So big businesses that y'all have heard of in the space that do massive amounts of traffic on our network. Um, Tatum is a company that provides two things. First is an SDK, and the second thing is the infrastructure to support that. So the infrastructure being an API and a backend that runs multiple RPC nodes across 92 networks if you count testnets. And I'm excited to learn more about Horizen, and we can talk about how SDK can be used with Horizen. So I'm also excited about that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Shelby. Gustavo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, my name is Gustavo, and I'm the program manager at the Horizen Foundation. And in my role, I oversee our partnerships and collaborations and ensure that our developer community has all the resources they need. And I'll pass it back to you, Angie.
Nice. Can I ask, so does that mean you're kind of like a DevRel, but
Yeah,
on the
it's
nice?
one of the roles. It's just, yeah.
It's always very exciting and also much needed. So Gustavo is, of course, from the Horizen Foundation, and I think it's always very interesting to see the things we're doing, providing like community, like tools and information and awareness. There's a lot of things out there all the time, and one of the purposes I think for this walkthrough video is exactly that, just showcasing in a very easy and simple way what is Tatum, what is Horizen Neon, and in a set of simple steps, some of the things that developers and people that would like to get to know more about the technology can do. Right. So as mentioned previously, Horizen Neon is our EVM running on Horizen's network. So yeah, we are super excited. We right now are continuously working on improving and growing the ecosystem. And when I say ecosystem, what I mean by that is basically making sure that we have these developer tools, SDKs, and basically providing a very rich environment for developers to be able to build on top of the network, right? I'm no developer, but I do know that the tools, and especially the right ones, are always essential for developing good products or dApps, and I mean, also like I mentioned previously, super excited to have Shelby from Tatum walking us through some of those tools and things that you can do using their SDK.
Yeah, that's that's so true. Like you can build the best network, or I mean, I guess maybe one way to think about it is like you could build the best car in the world, but if you don't have a fleet of mechanic shops or dealerships to maintain it, like it's not going to
Yeah.
be a good experience to own that car. I mean, that's kind of what we do at Datum is like we pride ourselves on the developer experience, like making it as frictionless as possible to build on the blockchain. So our SDK is architected by developers for developers, which is a really cool space for me to be in because while I'm not like a full-time developer, like as a hobbyist and someone who enjoys doing this, it's super awesome to see how like the best of the best implement on the blockchain, Um, really cool. Uh,
And Shelby, can you please maybe give us like a short description of the main advantage of your SDK?
sure. I actually have a little demo I can All right, there we go.
But for those that are more interested to just following up and exploring the tools, just go and go in Tatum.io, their website, just go and explore, take a look around to the tools that they offer. And also regarding eon.horizen.io is our website. So I think always useful to kind of like have that on a side and just be checking those notes and other tools that are available. So Shelby, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Yeah, I always forget to self-promote. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that
I
bell.
know, I know. I think for the viewers, like because sometimes we're the viewers, sometimes we're just like explaining to people. It's in a way it's a little bit annoying, but it's also really, really important, right? To say, hey, check out the website. There is a website, right? Which is so obvious sometimes, but it's also like very much needed because it has like all the information in a very, very nice way and easy to
Yeah,
digest for the audiences. So yeah.
yeah, awesome. Okay, so I've done something kind of cool. I deployed a code space and a demo repo that I made on GitHub. And the cool thing is you can spin up a code space and access it from a VS Code instance, which is an IDE, which is someplace you can play with code. You can access it in Chrome, which is kind of really fun. So in my case, I'm actually running this dev container on a code space instance on GitHub, editing it in the browser and running the dev container or the dev server for this little web app in the browser and accessing the web app from the browser. It's like multiple layers of technology, but it's really cool because it's so easy and simple. So this web page here, this little web app is actually running on this code space instance here. So the point is that, you know, you can build this quick little web app using the Tatum SDK, and it's really simple and it runs quickly. So one of the cool things about the SDK is that it's actually very low dependency. I think it only has 4 dependencies. So instead of, you know, like some of the SDKs out there, the JavaScript and TypeScript world where you install it and it has, you know, 1,000 dependencies, and your node modules folder is, you know, has 500,000 files in it. Our SDK by its design is very low dependency, and there's some upsides to that, mostly around the fact that you can, you know, rest well at night knowing that there is very little security holes in it, which is very important if you're building a you know, blockchain-based app. But I wanted to show off, you know, for an example of how easy it is to build with our SDK. If you're going to make a request to a native RPC client on something like EVM, you would go through all these steps to build out the request and then to check it and to parse the results to see if they're good. With the Tatum SDK, it's much quicker. You just initialize the SDK with the network you're trying to use, and then immediately you can call the function. In this case, we're doing block number, which is like the hello world of the Web3 world, get block, to get the latest block number, and then just doing a quick check to make sure that it's not an error. And this is live on the SDK right now. You can go and try this out. You don't need an API key or a Tatum account or anything. We provide limited access to all of the networks we support without an API key or an account. And when I say limited, I just mean that it's very limited. You can access most of the functionality for native requests, archive nodes notwithstanding. So another cool thing that I want to show off is how easy it is to switch blockchain. So if you're already on EVM and you want to try out Horizen EON, which you should because it's awesome, it's very tricky to write out a full project. When you're using multiple methods, you end up with a bunch of boilerplate. Like I'm showing you, like this isn't a problem with Horizen or any of the blockchains. It's really just how an API request is made in a type-safe language like TypeScript. You have a lot of boilerplate you have to write out. So for the Tatum SDK, though, all you really have to do is change out the network name and the requests are the same. So there's essentially no cost to switching chains. So for example, here we can get the latest block on Ethereum, but if we wanted to switch up to Horizen, I have Gobi here and get the latest block. You can see 154, and then on the block explorer here, 154. So you can see this is live data. Very streamlined, very easy to do.
sorry to interrupt, Shelby. For those of you who are not aware, Gobi is our testnet, right? So EON is mainnet, and then Gobi is testnet, right? Which is always essential for any
Yeah.
tests prior to production or deploying to a main network, right?
And
Right.
how many projects do you guys currently support, Shelby?
How many
Different
So
blockchains.
how many blockchains? So differentiating between blockchain and network, with networks, I think we have 92, and then ch actual chains is about half that, because some have more test nets.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So when I say 92, it sounds really impressive, but I mean, to be honest, 40 something blockchains is still really impressive. Most of our other SDKs out there only support,
No.
one.
I wouldn't even add, like, even maintaining just one node and keep like 99% of uptime, it's difficult.
Yeah, our infrastructure team has a kind of messed up sleep schedule.
That's great.
And then some other things I can show. So our SDK is really interesting in how it handles client side RPC behavior. So most SDKs or RPC providers have two ways they'd handle this. If you use, your own RPC node, or you use a direct connection to an RPC node from an SDK like Ether.js or Web3.js, you put in the RPC you want to use and it goes to it, which is cool. This is how ours works. But we also provide some extra functionality on top of that. We provide lowest latency routing. So, for example, I have the node here, which is one of our Ethereum nodes, but we have multiple Ethereum nodes around the world. And depending on where you make the request to, it actually goes and checks the latency, the response times for all the different nodes, and it will use the one with the lowest latency. So it's really cool. It's like kind of like load balancing or kind of like Anycast, but it runs on the client side, so there's no extra overhead. That's something unique to us for an SDK, but for a RPC provider, what a lot of them do will give you a single URL. And from that URL, they will run nodes on the back end that get load balanced between those RPC nodes. And the thing about how that works is most of us use Cloudflare to do that load balancing and security layer. Maybe there's other load balancing providers used, but they're all not only a paid service, but also a hop in the middle. So it's essentially a middleman. So even though Cloudflare is incredibly fast and located in most places where an RPC node might be run, like in a data center or an Equinix location, it still adds a hop. So you have to go from the client to the load balancer and then to the RPC node and then back through. And while it might be a little bit of latency add, the responsiveness of an app is a result of a long chain of requests made. So just removing that one hop might not make a huge difference, but if you're trying to optimize your app for the most responsive experience, it is a step that you can make that's very easy to do, and that's a large return. 100 milliseconds extra, that's a pretty good win, easy win for Tatum. Additionally, the downside to going to an RPC node directly is, how do you handle if it goes offline? You mentioned 99% uptime. Like, what happens if the node's offline? Is your business offline? I don't think so. That's like not a way to run a business. So then you have to go, okay, well, I'll use two RPC nodes. And then, okay, well, then you have to manually implement failovers and all that fun behavior. But in our SDK, if you want to have 5 nodes, that's fine. Like, by default, you can use our nodes, or you can use your own nodes. And if one of them goes down, the SDK will automatically take that one out of rotation, and it will just go to the next lowest latency one. So we handle all of that fun stuff, infrastructure, backend, boring stuff. So you don't have to worry about it. And I kind of mentioned this, but you can use your own RPC node with the Tatum SDK. So, you're not tied to us for eternity. It's more of an open source product, whereas Tatum, the company, is providing high-end services if you want to pay for it, but you don't have to. You're not tied to us forever. And I tried to demo this using the Horizen RPC, but I couldn't get to work. I think it's something to do with cores. And I just need to test it more. Making that cross-origin request from the browser running in a code space is a little tricky, but it does work locally, and I have tested this. But it's pretty simple. You can just, when you init the Tatum SDK, just add an array of different RPC nodes like this, and you can add as many as you want. And it's a pretty cool feature. Pretty excited about. But this is a quick little demo I have just for Horizen.
What you just mentioned, Shelby, sorry to interrupt there. I think it's like these features you're mentioning, I think they're pretty useful for developers, right? Having like these options and kind of like for them to see what works best for them. I don't know, Gustavo, if there's something that I think you also consider important, right? Because it's important to have like, let's say, different options, right? Or like redundancy in this type of things. I don't have a developer background, but I can understand that when it comes to like optimization, just making things easier, just like working on a let's say more efficient way, it's kind of like what everybody's looking for, right?
Yeah. For any like enterprise grade business, you need basically foolproof and 100% reliability, and this is what Tatum provides. If you're a hobbyist, probably you can get away with your own node and running your own infrastructure, but for serious business, you need this kind of level.
I saw an interesting YouTube video and recently, and he made an interesting point like that I never really thought of. He's like, people say they make the joke about your hobbyist project with one user and the user is you, like how much work you spend on. We need to make sure this scales, and like that's a waste of time. But like he made the point, like it's a waste of time the first time you do it, but then the next time you build something, you already know how to do it. It doesn't cost you any more extra time. So it's like you might as well do it the first time, and then any project you have can scale from there on out. I thought that was really smart. And
yeah,
that's a good point.
I absolutely, I agree. Shelby, is there anything you would like to, let's say, share with developers that, I don't know, might be exploring this for the first time, where they're like newbies, and also a piece of advice for developers that could be more like advanced, right? And then, that Tatum can, provide support in the services that you guys provide.
yeah, absolutely. Getting started is really easy. Just npm install at Tatum IO. Our documentation is really great. We spend a lot of time thinking about how we can help developers get started. Like for example, we have code pins all over our documentation site so you can see the code and how it works. We also have a really active Discord community, and people go there to ask questions or just share their projects or just self-promote, because with self-promotion, with Web3 without self-promotion. So there's a lot of fun ways to be involved and be engaged. We also are an open source project, so if you want to play with your SDK and maybe make some pull requests, make some changes, and that would be really fun as a sort of side project.
And Shelby, do you guys have like a freemium model so our potential developers to try it out free of cost?
Yes, actually, yeah. So I kind of alluded to this. You can go to Tatum IO and sign up for free, but you actually don't need to. If you just download the SDK, I wasn't using the API key. I deleted it, after I shared it accidentally, a rookie mistake. You don't actually need an API key, meaning you don't need an account. So yeah, freemium, it's very limited. But freemium to get started, pretty much you can build anything you need without an account. We do want you to get an account because there are some features which are pay gated or not even pay gated, just locked behind an account. But most of our services are free, with or without an API key. But as you scale and you scale up the number of requests you need, freemium comes to play.
Amazing. Awesome. Gustavo, is there anything you would like to share from the Horizen side of things, like to developers, or just like from the to community thoughts, anything you'd like to share?
Just say that we are happy to showcase our partners and happy to collaborate with Tatum. And thank you for your time, Shelby.
Yeah, this has been great. I love meeting all these wonderful people on Web3.
But yeah, Shelby, thank you for this kind of quick walkthrough. I think very useful, just like straight to the point and just like showcasing some of the things that developers can do with Tatum using the tools and SDK services that you guys provide. Gustavo, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see each other on the next one, and happy to keep talking and having these conversations around things that you can do with a Horizen EON. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Look forward to it.
Guys. Thank you, Shelby, once again.